Thank you so much. Well, I'm delighted to be here. The world has changed. Technology has redefined the way we work, the way we play, the way we have relationships. Now, futurists tell us that for every trend, there is a counter-trend. So on the one hand, we have technology giving us the opportunity to constantly communicate through cell phones, email, social media. But on the other hand, we also see a need for old-fashioned, face-to-face, live communication, where we look at each other, we talk to each other, we sit down over coffee or a drink, and we build trust. So we have CEOs, leaders of organizations out there shouting and sharing their opinions, their messages through social media. But those very same leaders know that if they want to get their goals accomplished, they need to sit down with people and take the time to build trust. Now, all these leaders have one thing in common. They all have an entourage. An entourage, a group of people that they can trust. Now, it's not the old kind of entourage like you see up there in this slide. It's not the kind of entourage that the king and the queen have, that it's all in one direction, everyone is taking care of them. And it's not the kind of entourage that celebrities have, the Rihannas, the Brad and Angelinas, where they've got all these people gallivanting around the globe, taking care of their every need. It's actually a new kind of entourage. And this new kind of entourage is more like the Seinfeld gang. Yes, the Seinfeld gang. Because the Seinfeld gang, no matter how hilarious their exploits were, they were always watching out for each other. They were always helping each other succeed in their careers, which they had many. But they were always there. There was trust that was established, that always existed between them. Another way of looking at it is thinking of it as the solar system. Think of yourself as the sun in your own solar system. And revolving around you are the planets. And the planets represent your entourage. Now, the sun, we can count on the fact that the planets are always going to be there for us. And the planets can trust that the sun will be there for them too. Now, another interesting thing, revolving around the planets, most of the planets are moons. And those moons are always there as well, and they represent the entourage of the planets. And because we are the sun, we have access to those planets through our entourage. We have access to the moons as well as the planets. Now, before you get all full of yourself because you think you're the sun, you have to realize that there are billions of suns and stars in the galaxy, not to mention the universe. And they all have bodies of planets or stars or other support networks revolving around them as well. But the great thing about this is that can you imagine what it would be like if we were all building trust with each other, taking the time to have that trust and collaborate? We could make anything possible if that happened. Now, what I found out when I was researching my book, Link Out, was that all successful leaders have an entourage. And it was amazing to me because in my mind I kept thinking, oh, these people did these things alone. But they didn't. Whether you look at business, politics, social change, it's all the same. Henry Ford could not have built the automobile without his entourage, which included people like Edison and Harvey Firestone. Neither could Barack Obama have become president. He started building his entourage when he was in college and continued growing it in law school and as he took public office. But it wasn't a one-sided entourage. It was a collaborative entourage with people helping each other. The same thing is true with social change. If you look at the women's movement, we had Gloria Steinem over here, and she had an amazing entourage, and Betty Friedan, and she had an entourage. And in fact, the two of them were competing. But they gave up the competition and began to collaborate and brought their entourages together to achieve real social change. The same thing is true of Martin Luther King. We think of him because he had the huge vision, the I have a dream, and he did have a big vision, and he had an amazing entourage. But so did many other leaders have entourages as well, and they all came together and collaborated to really change the world for civil rights. So leaders all have entourages, and why can't we all have entourages too? Of course we can, and we can continue to grow them. Allow me to share a quick personal story. That's me at the age of 4. Even then, I think I was dressed for success. See those little white gloves? Anyway, I had aspirations even at the age of 4, and I'm sure many of you did too if you started to think back. Now, my aspiration at that age was to be a dancer. So my mother did what any good mother would do. She went out and bought me the little black leotard, the cream tights, the ballet shoes, and she found a dance class for me to go to class. So I went to class. I was so excited I could hardly wait to learn how to be a professional dancer, right? I showed up in my little outfit. Lots of little girls were there. I could hardly wait to dance with them and also to become friends with them. First class happened, we start, and Miss Dresner, our teacher, said, girls, get into pairs. Everyone went to pairs, but there was nobody for me to pair up with. Well, I danced by myself, did my little steps that she taught us, and left, and then came class 2 a week later. I thought, well, maybe this week I'll meet some people. I'll talk to them. They'll be my friends, and I'll have a partner. Well, class started, and nobody wanted to talk to me. I tried, and again, I was alone. Well, this time I left, and I was not happy at all. In fact, in my mind, my career was over. I did not want to go back to that class. Week 3, my mother drove me to dance class kicking and screaming. I had given up on my career. But when I got there, I had a nice surprise. There was a new little girl there. And I welcomed her and said, would you be my partner? And of course, she was delighted to be my partner. And class was a lot better. And I said, well, maybe I can be a professional dancer. I can keep that goal. Left and told my mother the story, and she said, great, you will do this dance thing. Went back, class 4. I had another surprise. There was another new girl there. And I was very excited. I welcomed her. I didn't want her to feel left out and hurt like I had. So I went up to Miss Dresner, the teacher, and said, can she be part of our group? And we'll be 3 instead of 2. And Miss Dresner said, well, I don't see why not. So then there were 3, and we danced together, and it went on and on. I realized then what it meant to reach out to people. And word spread about my little entourage. And suddenly, the kids in the neighborhood wanted to be in my entourage, and I started setting new goals for myself. I decided I want us to all swim together. And so, here's my entourage at the country club. Well, actually, my pool in the backyard. And then I said, I have a goal. We're going to do a theatrical performance. And I enrolled everyone in doing it. And there we are, doing a circus in my driveway. So what I realized when I look back is this entourage thing, which of course I didn't call it then, was something that I could feel comfortable and I could achieve whatever my goal was by doing it with a group. And later in life, I realized that several of my businesses, because I'm actually I am a social entrepreneur. I did create 2 successful businesses, very successful businesses. One was not a social entrepreneurship, one was a marketing company, but the other one was Women's Leadership Exchange, a social entrepreneurship, training women to be super successful entrepreneurs. And we were able to do over 85 conferences all over the country with 65,000 women coming to learn how to create very successful enterprises. When I think back on that, I realize that those businesses were not successful because I was smart. They were not successful because I was so skilled. They were successful because of my entourage. I had grown so many trusted relationships and had been giving and helping other people for so long that I was able to be successful with them. So what would life be like for each of us if we have our own entourage and we continue to grow it? You always get valuable advice. You meet influential people, people that you don't even have access to, because your entourage will introduce you and connect you to them. You will have champions for your success from the time you're young and in college, which continues to grow. And it works whether you're an entrepreneur, a social change agent, or whether you're in the corporate world. Your entourage will bring you career success no matter what you do, and even more so, fulfillment. So what are the keys to having an entourage? 3 things, not only having one, because many people already have one, but are you growing it? And to grow it, we start by, number 1, having a vision. And you know what a vision is. It's like looking into a crystal ball and seeing what the future looks like in action. And if we don't have a vision, it's kind of like going on a road, driving down that road without a destination. We meet a lot of interesting people, see some fascinating places along the way, but we never really get anywhere because we never set out to go to a destination. The second thing we need to do is share our vision, because how can anyone help us if we don't tell them what our vision is? And third, we need to link out. And link out means get up, get out of our offices, leave our place of business, leave our homes, and sit down with people and have real conversations. Build trust and link each other to new people. Make introductions without an expectation of getting something back. In fact, give. Give to them first, because it always comes back. And look for ways to collaborate rather than compete. That's where real success comes from, and that's how we can actually change the world together. Now, there's a very successful CEO, I'm sure many of you have heard of, who headed up IBM for many, many years, Lou Gerstner. And of course, you know that IBM is considered one of the greatest companies in the world and also one of the greatest places to work. Now, on Lou Gerstner's office, he has this sign: "A desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world." A desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world. So we need to get up out of our desks and get out and invest that time in building those relationships, because we can change our own world and we can change the entire world when we do that. Now, before I close, I want to make a request of each and every one of you, and that is that you take 30 minutes every day that you might normally spend on doing email and social media, and invest that 30 minutes into 2.5 hours a week, and instead take that 2.5 hours and sit down and build a new relationship. Reach out to a new person that's not already in your circle or entourage. And if you do that, just can you imagine the new people that you'll be able to make a difference with and who'll be there for you as well and become part of your entourage? But one more thing before I close. I have one request, another request, it's a second request. And that is, when you get the results of all those meetings and how it's changed your life and perhaps those people's lives, that you share it. And the way I want you to share it is on social media. Thank you.